All right, guys. This next guest, man, he's been a part of so many different entities in this underground independent rap scene. Truly a legend. Strange, famous, newest signee. You know, this man's like a mythical figure. I've asked like so many different rappers about him. They're like, he's a good guy. I don't know much about him. I don't know much about his origin story, but he's a good guy. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying to find out a way to tackle this, but that's besides the point, okay? But anyways, Mr. fucking Dibbs.
Thanks for having me.
How you doing, man?
Stressed out. We leave for tour in 4 days, so.
Right.
Getting everything ready for tour. We already had it ready, but then all the last minute shit, like, is this going to, is the merch going to show up? Is this going to show up? You know, the 1,000 things happen in the last 3 or 4 days. So this is the most relaxing thing I'm doing for the next 2 months. So this is me just chilling. I get to talk and run my fat ass mouth and have a good time. And then immediately after this, it's back to fuck this, fuck for everything. Yeah.
Got you, man. You know, what's so funny is because like when I messaged you and I was like, yo, we got to get an interview in, and you just hearted the message. And I was like, dang, what does that mean? You don't even say anything.
So my standard thing is like, here are the 1,000 messages for the day. And I remember, and you just got caught up in the fuck heart, all the way down. And then like a day or two later, Sage was like, hey, do you know this person? I'm like, yeah, I don't know him. But I recognize the name because who else has Panda Chop?
Right.
I'm doing this interview with him. He wants to interview you too. And I'm like, oh shit, fuck, I just hearted that. Like, fuck. I didn't blow it off. That was just my like, I'll get back to it. And then when he did that, I'm like, okay, yeah, tell him, yeah, hit me up and we'll get the ball rolling. Like, that's my fault. Yes.
Right.
Actually.
No, but it was funny because Sage was like out of nowhere. He's like, hey, you should interview him. And I was like, yeah, I tried to ask him, but he just hearted the message and I don't know what that means.
Because most of the messages are from rappers that want like free beats and, you know, shit like that. And so like,
that's terrible.
Who the fuck you telling? I know it's terrible. It's like, hey, you got any spare beats? If I got any spare beats, I'm using all those beats. Those are mine. So I probably thought that either I'll just take it as I fucked up. Sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good, man. I can't imagine how many messages you got to deal with on a regular basis.
Shedding the tear. For you. I should have poked it at me. I could go ahead.
All right, man. Well, let's start at the beginning. You're originally from Cincinnati, Ohio, born and raised, right?
Yes.
Okay. Did you grow up with any siblings?
One sister.
One sister. Older, younger?
Younger. 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, what did your parents do for work?
When I was a little kid, my dad worked at the Cincinnati Enquirer, the local newspaper. My mom was at home, like the at-home thing. And
what did he do though at the Enquirer?
You know what? He didn't do anything cool. It's like ran a production. However you make a newspaper, he's one of the dudes.
Oh, got you.
Running the machine. And I think he got that job because I think that his dad worked at the Enquirer. But he had gone to college, he had a master's degree in psychology, so the paper thing kind of didn't make sense. And then, of course, he didn't get a job in psychology. He got a job at a place called Pedco. So he leveled up, and that was an environmental protection agency. My mom was still an at-home mom, and then I'm born, and we moved to the neighborhood we lived in was called Forest Park, and then she went to work at a bank as a teller. He worked at Pedco. Then they had big layoffs, and that dude jumped off the bill. That's another story. Anyway, big layoffs, and then he had saved some money, and a friend of his, Shaw, who knew a lot about computers. We're talking early 80s here. So the Apple that you had to physically assemble at your house, like in the movie.
Right.
Like it's like a circuit board and you have to figure out the rest is all on you. They decided to run a computer company when that shit didn't exist. So they bought those. They rented like a storage space and they opened a computer store where you could come in and print shit and play. Well, I would go play video. They print shit for your job or whatever. And that turned into a legitimate computer company. There were no computer stores in Cincinnati, and my dad in Shaw had the first one. And so that's what my dad did, computers, which is why I fucking hate computers. So it took me, like, I could have had any computer I wanted. And like, what DAW do you use for music? It's only been 10 years and I even had a computer because I was anti-computer because I just didn't want, I wanted to play video games and he wanted me to learn code. In retrospect, I should have learned the fucking code, but it's all good.
But it made you have like a adverse like reaction to it, basically. Like instead of doing what he wanted, you did the opposite, basically.
Yeah, but and the funny thing was like he was the most supportive dude in the world. Like if I had been like, I don't want to do that, I want to do this, he would have been ride or die the whole time with me. But when you're that age, you're like, I fucking hear anything you're saying, no. But yeah, and so he ended up having this giant computer thing, that wired the whole city, like all the schools, and you'd have never known it because he didn't act like he had money. If I wanted something, you had to work for it. So like, oh, you want a pair of shoes? Guess what you get to do this week? What? You get to run a mile every day with me. Why? You'll know when you're older. Fuck. There was a lot of that.
What was the dynamic like between like your household?
How do you mean?
Like the relationships between your parents and between you and them and stuff like that.
So, oh man, that's a good question. Fuck it, I'll answer it. So,
I know you can't find anything about your early life online. I was like looking for everywhere.
It's because I'm adopted. So the first year or so, I'm in an orphanage, and then they adopt me. So that's
Wait,
that
you're
part.
being serious?
Yeah, 100% serious. Yeah. First year, I'm in an orphanage. So the best way to explain that to you is so when you're born, here's your mom, here's your dad, and cuddles. You live in an orphanage, motherfucker, you're laying in a crib, and some lady's walking by to throw a bottle. This is the fucking 70s. So when I say throw a bottle in there, you were probably lucky if you got that. I don't know for sure because I can't remember, but first year was the orphanage. Then I have a family, and I don't remember that. You're that young, you don't really remember. And but like for the dynamic part, as I got older, my father was the encouraging dude. Like, you can do that. Yes, you can 100% do that. No matter what I said. My mother, no offense, I mean, they both passed. My mother was like, yeah, that's horrible and you're a horrible person. In fact, she tried to give me back when I was like 12. I'm not even fucking kidding. It was at children's home. That's where I was adopted through. That's the orphanage. And she literally had a meeting where I had to go with my dad and she thought she could give me back at like 12.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Was your sister adopted too?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
What was the reason that she couldn't have her own children, or what was the reason for them adopting?
I'll go with she couldn't, but no, no one really ever addressed it in a way where we got a clean answer, like why that was the thing. Like, obviously you just assume she can, but maybe he couldn't. But yeah, there's a point when you're doing that where you're like, I don't really want to, you don't want to keep poking the bear. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But like my dad made a record when he was 17 or 18. It was Janet Shea and the Four Jacks, and the song was Busy Bee. So my dad was always into music. So music was always around via him. So when I got into music, that was the big encouraging part, was he pushed that. He pushed music and sports because I think he knew that I would get into fucking trouble if I wasn't doing something to, idle hands.
Right.
And he was right. And he was definitely right. Because whenever if it wasn't sports or music, It was I'm robbing people or breaking into cars or, well, you name it.
Well, why do you think that your mom was the way that she was like that?
Because it wasn't about her. She wasn't the center of attention. If it wasn't her, and it was, directed at my sister or me or my dad, then it was years later when I figured that out. She was like narcissistic like that. Like, it's me, me, me. There's no team. My dad was it's us. She was it's her, and everything else was secondary.
How was that like for you? How did that impact you growing up with a mom like that?
Made me mean as shit. My dad made me funny, and my mom made me mean as shit.
So did you ever have any conversation with your dad about like why is mom like this or anything like that?
Yeah, I suppose we did when I was like, and like that's like when you get to your early 20s and you feel like you can talk to your dad like I'm talking to you.
Right.
And
But it's
he
like a little bit too late at that point almost, right?
it's too late for you to work on anything, but at least you can get like, here's why. I don't remember him having like a definitive answer on it. Just, well, I mean, they both passed some fucking. I mean, basically, if I translated to today, I think he would have been like, well, because she's kind of a fucking bitch, and that's what he would have said if he talked like we did.
Mm.
Some people are just hateful for no fucking reason, and like plenty of people have moms like that. She was just fucking hateful.
What was their relationship like though? Did you see them being loving or anything towards each other?
I grew up in Leave It to Beaver Brady Bunch, dude. I literally, no shit, saw them argue one time. And by argue, I mean, they were talking and my dad raised his voice down lit and they stopped. And I remember freaking out, like, because he had raised his voice on one word a little and thinking they're getting divorced and I'm going back to the orphanage. And we've talked louder in this interview than that argument was. It was literally one word. I never, ever. He absolutely would refuse to argue. He would not that he wouldn't talk, but there was never going to be a moment where I watched them argue. So if they argued, it would have been more like, we don't agree. We're talking about this in here because they don't need to hear it. And I don't even think that happened. I just think my father wouldn't engage. He considered a lot of things beneath him, and I don't mean that in a bougie way. I mean in a you're better than that way.
Mm.
Like I don't do that because I'm not fucking trash, so I don't do that.
But your dad had to be cognizant of how certain things would affect the kids, right? Because he had a master's in psychology.
Yeah, he did, and yeah, that was really fun. By the way, like I literally would read his books when I was a teen. The library, I read them so I would understand and try to be able to like. That was kind of the constant game. Was like me reading it and trying to fuck with him back, and I could never quite get it. I could never match him on that. Like he skipped 3 grades. He went to Ohio State when he was 15 years old. Ohio State University. Like
Holy shit.
he scored out of high school, but like when me and you would have been a freshman and he's supposed to be a freshman, they're like that. And he got into Ohio State, then went to Ohio State, then transferred back to University of Cincinnati. So he graduated when me and you were sophomores and he was supposed to be in our grade.
That's crazy.
So he was the dude. He could do no wrong, and I always listened to him. Everything bad or good about me is just my version of something he taught me. For real. Like, so late 70s, early 80s, race is a big thing. You know what I mean? And so my father's whole take the whole time was like, you're never going to be like those white assholes over there. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you're smarter than that and you're better than that. Don't behave like that. Conduct yourself like a fucking man. That's a man. That's a man. That's a woman. That's a woman. Everyone gets along here. Fuck what they're doing. And if I had ever spouted anything like that, I would have got a beating like you wouldn't believe. I never got that beating, but that's because I believe my dad and he was right. You know what I mean? Like he never judged anyone. Now my mom was the exact opposite. So she didn't get to talk about any of that shit with me, but my dad did a lot because he didn't want me to be a dick like people he grew up around. That was a big deal to him. You can't be like them.
You know, that's really interesting because a lot of times, like, you know, little boys, they're growing up, they tend to like go towards their mother more, right? To be like a mama's boy or something like that. But obviously you didn't have that kind of dynamic with your mom because she was, you know, so you always look to your father for guidance for everything then.
Absolutely, yeah. Like when he was just always there, no matter what. Like all the way to like making battle records. Like I wanted to put out, these first battle records, and he was like, "Well, what do you need?" I'm like, "This, and this," and he's like, "There's a dude down the hallway that has a record press in his office where he had his computer store." And he went and talked to the dude, and that's how I did it. Like my dad fronted the money, and which was probably a lot for that time. We're only talking like $2,500 or whatever, but he was like, "Here, and pay me back when you get it." So as soon as I sold all the records, paid him back, and then he would finance them because he thought it was the coolest thing in the world. He didn't necessarily understand what the battle record was until he saw me do it. He's like, "Oh, I get it. So other DJs use this." Yeah. But he was, no matter what it was, he would always back me up.
Wow, that's amazing, man.